Okay, so I just spent today doing yard work. The remote neural monitoring is still incredibly, more than anything, now it's gone to a more pathetic level. The stages, the initial stage, when you first get synthetic telepathy. And like targeted individuals said on his channel, Kevin Christian, it's not V2K, it's remote neural monitoring. And it's a microwave hit to your head, and it's via satellite. Now, he doesn't think it has anything to do with the cell phone towers. Well, I don't know. I don't have the background scientifically to explain how I hear other people's thoughts and how they read my mind actively, 24 hours a day, in a pathetic place called Kettering. See, what's so awesome about this technology is that when you were young, you gravitate towards certain themes in the media. That might dictate who gets chosen. Which movie is your favorite? Did you like Cinderella? The Wizard of Oz? Okay, Alice in Wonderland? Star Trek? Star Wars? It seems there's a lot of people programmed to want science and fantasy. That in fact, sex is not that interesting. It's basically a tool to breed, and then if you're a TI, it's used to humiliate you, degrade you, and break you down. That I'm systematically being taken down by gang rape. I'm gang raped repeatedly a day, repeatedly all day, and while I sleep. So I said, you know what? A TI had responded to one of my videos and said, try to do something. And this is what I already knew early on in my targeting when I could tolerate it. Do something, even if it's as simple as cleaning the house, doing the dishes, right? So I said, you know what? I'm going to help my friend and bang out some landscaping. Now, I periodically send emails to the sheriff's department, the mayor, and then I send emails to the senators, congressmen, and the media. And I keep them updated with evidence that I accumulate of the synthetic telepathy. Now, as this goes on, this drags on because I live in Kettering, who is handling your brain? My God, I get like these rednecks who talk to me all day. They just bother me. And, I had a friend who worked in Braintree in North Quincy. He was a retailer. He's a manager of a retailer. So, so what? Someone uses synthetic telepathy, and then they can hack your brain and see your memories. So what he does to harass me, he gets the poor black females to accumulate data. So they will ask me questions and write down names and dates and try to recall the image. She forwards it to another perp. And then it's used to keep Tasha Williams in access with my brain activity. Now this is also interesting. I'm just kind of rambling because I'm kind of tired of this shit. So, like, if you are a woman and you're mind hacking someone, you're basically a rapist. Okay? But have you noticed that, like, when you get mind hacked, that you start to feel like you're being pedophiled? I felt like it's like being a child. Like, it's a very vulnerable position to be in. And I would probably, if TI should probably advocate for kids because, for the obvious reasons that they're going to grow up to be mind hacked and it would just continue. But they're basically turning you into like an adult pedophile victim. And because they're using this technology, you don't tell anybody. Nobody will believe me. And then they threaten you, don't they? You remember those days. If you tell anybody, we'll kill your mother. You know? If you don't masturbate, we'll kill your family. We'll kill you. So you're basically an adult molestation victim. It's beyond rape. It is a vulnerable place to be. And it takes an incredible amount of mind control to not go insane. But then, like, how do you not take it personal? Because if you take it personal, then you just sit there all day and say, well, why is this happening to me? Why am I getting stalked, harassed, hit with directed energy weapons? You know? Why me? And it becomes so very traumatic, right? So, like, I go over it and I say to myself, you know, this is ridiculous. This white guy is harassing me while I'm doing yard work. Like, are you serious? Come on. Yard work. It's getting worse and more pathetic, where he's just desperate to get my attention. They're desperate to interact with me. His obsession with me is got his handler, which is not the contractor, because they would never let him interact with the contractor. So if there's a military contractor who comes into the county of each city and spreads, it's like a virus. So they build the cell phone tower industry, and then they build, which is connected to the satellites, and then they are hooking your house up to Wi-Fi and internet. You sit there, and, you know, you hear these voices, these clicks. You hear ringing in your ear, recordings. You get the chatterbox AI. You hear real people talk to your brain. And to be honest, my first question was, how do they do it? Not 1 second did I believe I was crazy. I have never classified myself as insane. Angry. Maybe hysterical, but not crazy. Absolutely not. No, I am not crazy. And it was just a matter of time before I figured it out. I just thought, well, who has the power to do this? As I see chemtrails being sprayed over Dayton. It's just a pathetic war. It's like World War I. It's pathetic. Only it's not so, you don't see the smashed bodies and faces and the devastation of the infrastructure. So people get killed in their house and the house is intact when they sell the house. Or they mind control you, cause you to deteriorate. And then you can't pay your rent or you can't pay your mortgage. So I just thought immediately it was the Air Force Base. I was like, who is it? Who could do this? What color are they? Where are they in the state? Where are they in the town? Where are they in the country? Where are they in the world? How would they do it? And I said, it's the Air Force Base. Is it the Army? No, it's not the Army. It can't be the Army. Is it the Navy? Could be. It's the Air Force Base. And I left it at that. And then I said, maybe they'll stop, you know? Maybe, now there's a psychotic patriot with a red dot on the back of his stupid truck. So I thought, okay, so it's the Air Force Base. Okay, fine. I'll just go about my business. I'll try to ignore it. And it was just, just a quiet commentary of my life. Oh, I see you're going for a walk. Yeah, she's going for a walk. And then 3 minutes later, they would say something else stupid. It was just harassment. So what do they do? How'd they do it? How'd they get to hack the whole planet the way that they did? Okay. Now how do they do it? That's the perp. He just gave that stupid Masonic stupid hand sign where they put their hand over their mouth. They're cowards. I'm not a coward. Fuck that shit. All right, so they take down the World Trade Center. It's not a false flag. It is a legitimate act of war. That was not terrorism. That was an act of war. It was the United States Air Force Base, and all involved, corporations, other military contractors, psychotic white men, waging a war against Americans. Okay? That was a drone. That was a drone. It was not a plane from an airlines. You can go look at it. You can believe what you want. You can be foolish enough to believe that you could trust other Americans, because you cannot now. It's over. You have your mother, your father, and a couple other people, and then the rule of law. A couple of normal people that you will encounter at your local activity. Okay? But in no way, shape, or form can you really honestly trust anyone now, because they're mind hacking people and mind controlling people with this technology. So they take the World Trade Center down. I lived in Harlem. I could see it from Harlem. Okay? I'm not playing games with you crazy motherfuckers. I'm gonna expose you. I thought, in all honesty, I said, well, if it's real what they're saying on the news, well, I won't say what I thought, but I was already mind hacked, which is probably why my targeting is so severe. That I have gone through life dreaming of being an activist. I didn't grow up dreaming about buying a house and getting married and having children. I dreamt of making the world a better place, challenging authority, protecting the environment, ensuring that poor people get their rights. I'm not interested in fantasies about white picket fences. My fence is green. Okay? In fact, I voted for the Green Party. Okay? I'm a no, and here they're gonna, please, a stalker, please don't move in. All right, so they take down the World Trade Center, and it was devastating for the world. For the world. And then what happens? The whites in particular become hysterical because they haven't had a trauma in the country. They have lived in a bubble. They kind of went into a mania where they didn't feel safe. If you talk to the average black person in New York City, the response was quite depressing. It's one more bad thing that happened, and it's sad. But it's just on our list as black Americans, one more fucked up thing. And I have to go. I'll talk to you later. The whites were so shocked. It was a social shell shock. Okay? I can't believe it. It was like a movie. Oh, okay. It was not a movie. All this shit about, pre-planned hits on people. They do. I think they plan 200 years in advance. They're looking at the house that someone's selling. I think they plan for things like a couple hundred years in advance. We're going to make the population do this. We're going to plan this kind of assault. We will reward them and give them the illusion of freedom. There is no freedom. That's why your neighborhood isn't really that sweet anymore. Have you noticed that? That people aren't really like cozy like they used to be, like in the 70s. Okay? When the job market finally kicked into gear for black families and white families, and everyone was excited, and finally people got out of the hole after Vietnam. Even Vietnam is a false flag, some pre-planned assault on countries, protecting them from communism. That's a fucking joke. And then it just seemed like I heard a whisper. It was like a whisper. It's after 9/11. It was a whisper. And everybody says the same shit. Like if you should talk to TIs who live in New York City. We should probably get statistics on targeted individuals from Manhattan, the 5 boroughs, Jersey, Long Island, all of those areas, even down the shore to Florida. It was just a whisper. And I thought, that's so strange, have I been partying too much? And I couldn't really grasp any language. It was barely audible. See? All right, and what do? They use it to go into the minds of the masses because they desperately need to mind control the white man, basically. It's basically a hit on the white man, globally, okay? They go after each other first, okay? If you can mind control the white race, you can mind control anybody. They're fucking animals, okay? I'm not talking about you. So what do? They scare all the white guys into believing that there's terrorists. And then they program all the white men in the world, even people that lived in Europe. The white men went into a frenzy. And that was a total psyop. It was psychological warfare. Let's get the white guys all worked up about 9/11. Get them to focus all of their attention, now that they have a trauma, a psychological trauma. Let's look at the Arabs. Let's do that psyop. And then we're going to go into the Middle East, take the oil and resources, because we need the money. We need to allocate wealth. We need to strip the resources of the rest of the world while these white men are stupid, sitting on their fat asses worried about terrorists. It was so embarrassing. And me and my black friends were the only ones that were kind of like hanging out. I mean, the whites basically cowered in New York City. They turned into total bitches. Okay? They're not... This whole thing about you're worried about martial law and FEMA and taking your guns. I'm not going to take your guns. I think the average house probably has like 5 weapons in it. Nobody wants your stupid guns. You know why they don't want your stupid guns? Because they have other new high-tech weapons. They have drones. They have insects that can fly. They have directed energy weapons. They have voice-to-skull technology. They have microwave weapons. They have weapons that you can't see. They can go into the atmosphere, into your home, effortlessly attack you. And then you're left all alone with no evidence except burn marks on your body. And there's millions of us all over the world getting hit with weapons, and we can't prove it. Nobody wants to believe us. And then the biggest psyop of all is the psychiatric community. This stupid, boring psychiatric community that works with the military. If anyone complains of hearing voices, classify them as schizophrenic. If anyone complains about being followed, classify them as paranoid. Okay? Classify them as paranoid. And it's real good to go after drug addicts. Go after vulnerable people, single women who are alone, the elderly, young people, poor people, drug addicts, homeless people. Test the weapons on them. But the first group they test on is white men. If they don't control the white men, please, what are you black men gonna do? You ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. Your days are fucking so over. Every time there's an opportunity for you to do something, you drop the ball. But as soon as they give you a goddamn basketball or a football, you're all ready to work 24 hours a day to get a few $1 million. And then when we really need you, you're just, I don't know. Huh? Yeah, the civil rights movement is over. Okay, so who do we need help? We actually, unfortunately, have to go to white men. Because they dominate. There's more white people in the country than Mexicans. There's more white people in the country than black people. It's a white country. It's a white dominated. The United States of America is a European colony, and that's why it's fucked up and evil. But unfortunately, and again, if they're making them paranoid about terrorists, and then they make their children paranoid about active shooters, that's a psyop. Because then what they do, they go into their children's brains and fuck with them. They pick random kids in the suburbs. People who, they monitor your computer, and you say like, oh, he's a truther. Some poor kid who's like at home, floods his head with voices, tortures him, he snaps and then kills the students. Well, that's, like, if you can mind control someone to shoot, then you can mind control them to do nothing. They do nothing. And I see more fat-ass white people sitting in their white cars, driving around the country, stalking innocent people. The World Trade Center comes down. Those poor people that are jumping out of the building in this trauma-based mind control war tactic. It's not terrorism, it's a war. The weapons are invisible. The weapons come from your Wi-Fi. They come from unfortunately, from neighbors. Most of it's satellite. So you'll sit there and you'll swear it's the neighbors, and you'll be paranoid, but it's a satellite. So the whole mind control, they don't want to, these elite groups in the military, these fascists at the Air Force bases, they want to control the world. They want to fly over the planet, spray chemtrails, and mind control everybody. You will have no privacy. Because when your husband looks at you, there'll be 30 people looking through your husband at you. When your husband makes love to you, there's 30 people looking through him at your body. Now, if you're a mind-controlled heifer, and they'll do that, they'll coerce some people to tolerate violations like that. You don't know who those people are who can see through your eyes. I don't know these motherfuckers. I don't touch my friend. I don't have sex. Not anymore. Okay? It's awful. Soon as you attempt to do it when you're a TI, you'll notice like you get swarmed by all of these voices and microwave holograms. That's awful. And it just gets worse. So now we need to protect the world from terrorism, and they're constantly doing like this fake attack on people all over Europe, blowing up poor people's communities with HARP created storms. And that's another one. Fake hurricanes. My God, they're smart, aren't they? Motherfuckers come out of the Ice Age and you kick our asses. There's all kinds of, the LGBT community is a psyop because if the family's all freaky. There's all kinds of psyops. Racism is a psyop. It's all psychological warfare tactics. Okay? On each corner now there's a white pickup truck. And they are everywhere. They are fucking everywhere. I emailed, if you want to ask for help, who do you get? The NAACP? He looks like my friend. That could be a psyop. Now I'm getting paranoid. Stupid white trucks. You're gonna go to the NAACP. I wrote the NAACP. I went to the Black conscious community, more like a warning. It was mainly like me saying you need to get ready. It's this whole nonchalant attitude, and they know. Oh yeah, the military industrial complex and Silicon Valley, MIT, the Koch brothers, the Jesuits. They're all reading our minds and stalking us and making us hear voices and making us paranoid. They spend billions of dollars a year to torture people with gang stalking. The fuel alone, they're paying people to drive around all day. What else is a psyop? The job market going to fucking China. Okay. Well, they're so clever, aren't they? They are different. They are. They're like little worker bees. They're like little ants. You know, when you see a rice field from an aerial shot, an aerial photograph of a rice field, and you see these women, it's quite impressive the way they work. They work like nobody on the planet. Of course they're going to dominate that trade. Who cares? Let them make the goddamn tennis shoes. But see, like, it's a psyop to then say, well, now we're going to give all the jobs to the Chinese. And then what? And then now the Chinese find out that now they're going to have robots. So now the Chinese are freaked out. They don't want to lose their billion-dollar industry. And now they're going to have robots. And then the Chinese will be out of work. And then what? Now they're going to have to kill us. Right? Because if they take all the jobs away, and the elites, you know, are going to look around and say, there's too many people. Now, who's a threat? Who's going to challenge authority? Well, she will. Get rid of her.